With me now is Doug Noyes, who spent the last 30 or so years taking pictures of the Reading landscape. And why did you start?
It's a strange thing, really. Not many people go out and take pictures and then forget about them for 25 years or 30 years. It all started in the mid-50s. I went to the town hall and there was a Kodak show on there. A PR show, selling their pictures and all that. But for me, it was the first time I'd seen two projectors being used instead of one. I know it's old hat today, there's so many used on these presentations, but then it was something new. And great character, don't know his name, but he had two of their very old type of projectors where you put a slide in and pull it, slider could take it out the other side. He had two big boxes of glass slides. He had a couple of irises on the front of the projectors, and they were joined up with Bowden cables to a little bit of mechanism, like a Meccano lever on the side. He gave a 3/4 hour show with all these pictures dissolving on top of one another, and all the sound, everything in synchronization. I did see a part of the show. I was so taken with it that I watched him probably more than anything, and out of it, I wanted to do the same thing. It was in those days when experimenting with everything. And a great friend of mine, who's afraid no longer with us, Jack Lee of the library, had an identical projector to me. And so I wasn't going to do this manually, as he did, but I thought, well, I'll get down, and I made up a mechanical device which stood in front of the projectors, driven by a mains unit, quite lethal, but never mind. It did dissolve. This was the main thing. And we put on shows. We took them around to photographic clubs and so forth, showing holiday films and calling them interesting thing at the time. And so we went on, and we came to about the beginning of the 60s, and I wanted to have some type of program that I could use this equipment with that would be outstanding for it. And it went through my mind then that they're just going to build the IDR, the inner distribution road. And I thought, well, a lot of Reading's going to disappear. How about taking pictures then, and sometime in the future, try to get in the same spot and take the picture of what they've done, what they've built. And so it's for that reason only. Mind you, I was a bit slow. I missed some of it. Hosier Street had gone and so forth, but I started taking pictures. I was in retail, so Sundays were the only day to take pictures. That turned out to be an advantage, actually, because there was lack of traffic then, in those days, and I was able to get the buildings, which was really the thing that was disappearing. I do mention now that it originally was going to go through the Prudential building, and so I took all the pictures down King's Road. That turned out advantage because they built the library there now, but I didn't know that at the time. I thought there was going to be the IDR going through there. Anyway, I carried on, and then when I got my bus pass in '87, I started to think about the now pictures. And by the 90s, I started getting a program together where I could get the pictures. I mean, the first one, we start by the IDR where it cuts across Castle Street, where the police station is today. And we go down Castle Street, through Boarded Lane, a road that's now gone, and up Hosier Street, past the old school and Butcher's Arms, and then up to West Street Corner and along Oxford Road, up Howard Street, and across to Body Road, coming back to where we started. And it's a very, very large area of demolition. And if you think, there's probably the Sun pub at the bottom of Castle Street, St Mary's Church there, the Horn on the corner. There are a couple of shops around the corner, and my old place where I used to be on the corner of Hosier Street, that's still there. Other than that, everything's gone. So we do it as a walk, and what happens is that you see it as it is now, and then you stop, and you let your mind go side by side, doesn't do it, but one on top of the other, you see the old coming out like like a mirage almost, out of the new. And sometimes we go back again to the old so that you can see where everything was. And that's how I started taking the old pictures.
And I think you've got a number of presentations, haven't you? It's not just one that you've mentioned, but actually 5 or 6?
5 I got. I follow the IDR round. Each program takes half an hour, and half an hour is plenty long enough for any presentation. And of course they all say you want to leave the viewers wanting more. But yeah, so where we finish off at Castle Street on the first one, we then go down through Coley. That's another area that's all gone. Those old roads, Henrietta Street, Rello Street, Parnell Street, come into London Street, and much further south than it did, because there were all the buildings of Brennan's on the corner there. Yes, and of course Queen's Road wasn't opposite Mill Lane in those days. And then we go up London Street, one of the oldest streets in town, and along Crown Street, and down another oldest street in town, Southampton Street. And that covers Huntley, Bourne and Stevens on the three sides.
Doug, thank you. And keep watching, because tomorrow we're going to be talking to Doug again about what's actually disappeared underneath the inner distribution road.
Did we have been just sent through?
Well,
Happy birthday.